all these years is by grace and not by might. Ready? Sing. God has blessed this school all these years is by grace and not by might. We shall wed to the glory of God from Maudi Cosby Academy. Maudi Cosby, bright like a star, shine evermore. Oh, Maudi Cosby, Maudi Cosby, bright like a star, shine evermore. Oh, Maudi Cosby.
Well, my name is Stephen Cosby. I'm a physician. I work at Akron Children's Hospital as a child psychiatrist. And I'd like to talk a little bit about my pet project that is supporting a school in Ghana, West Africa. It started about 5 years ago when a group of us from Akron Children's Hospital and other neighboring hospitals went to Ghana to Pondo, which is a town in the Volta region, to work at a hospital there. It was the Margaret Marquardt Hospital. And basically we were going over to share some of our expertise in certain areas. But I noticed that whenever I would go to the dormitory where we were staying, I'd see the guy out in the courtyard. So I thought, I wonder if he wants to talk to me about something. His name was Prince Charles Bani, B-A-N-I, and he had a church in the local community just down the street from the hospital. And he said that he was told by God that I was somebody who was going to support him and his efforts with his school that's associated with the church. And of course I was skeptical because I thought, man, I'm American, I'm from another country, and maybe he thinks I've got a lot of money or something. But I was gracious to him and agreed to come and visit the school. So I think it was that evening we walked down the street to the school. I got to see how the school was set up. I saw all of these children that looked like they were from preschool to maybe 8th grade, lined up. They had gone to various classes. They had on uniforms. It was really kind of sweet. And then I realized that where the school was, they were missing a lot of things. They didn't have enough desks. It was kind of partially outside, exposed to the environment. And so I was touched and moved by what he was trying to do. I had dinner with his family that evening. I was impressed with the humility of this man and his family and the school. And he made this proposition to me that if I could support a school with maybe a few $100s a month, that he would name the school after me. And I had no feeling that I wanted that. So what I did was I donated a couple of desks, to the school. There was a person who made desks that were, right down the street, and so I agreed to sponsor that. I think it was about maybe $50 or so. But we stayed in touch by email, and the more I thought about it and realized after coming from such an impoverished nation compared to what we have, that I wanted to do more, and so I agreed to send him money for the school. So he asked me about naming the school after me, and I thought, well, that doesn't feel right to me. But then I thought, well, what about my mother? So I thought, how about the Maudi Cosby Continental Academy, which is the name that it was then. And my mother had died at the age of 93. I came from a large family of 13 children, and education was very important for her, that we all had a good education, because she was denied an education coming from the South. She and my father both had 8th grade educations, but you wouldn't know it by speaking to her. She carried herself in such a dignified way that you thought she was a school teacher. Many people did. So it just made sense that since the school went to the 8th grade, my mother went to the 8th grade, and that she stressed education so much. And everyone who knows my mother knows that even though she had 13 children, she also loved children and worked in the community, both at church and in other ways with the PTA, local PTAs, to support the work of schools and children in education. So it was a no-brainer for me. And So for several years, I was sending money every month and corresponding with Reverend Bonnie and hearing about the progress of the schools. He would send me pictures through emails of how things were going. There was a time a couple of years ago when I sold a home that I had a little extra money, and so I sent extra money. And he told me that they had plans to build a school, an actual school, because where they were meeting was a rented space that used to be kind of a recreational center, mostly outside. Just wasn't adequate for what they needed for the school. And on Sunday, that served as their church meeting place. So, I saw pictures of this foundation that the students were helping to dig, people in the community were helping to build the school. And so, Cynthia, my good friend, who came to my party about 2 years ago, had friends from Ghana who go to the University of Akron, work at the University of Akron, and also work in the community. And in fact, a good friend goes to our church, and they met with me. We were talking about the school at the party, and they said, you really should go to Ghana and see how the school is. You're sending money over there, you need to see where your money is going. It would be a good thing for them to see you, for you to see them and see where things are going, and also to decide if you want to continue to support it. So we planned several times to go, and finally, April of 2012, Cynthia and I went to Ghana. Her first time, my second. We had a person who served as a driver to drive us to Pondo, which was about 4 hours from the capital, Accra. And when we arrived there, school had let out, so we didn't get to see the children, but we met Pastor Bonnie and the headmaster, Peter Honu. And he was a retired headmaster from the public schools, but was drawn to the school and its mission and the children. And so the next morning, we went to the assembly. They told us what time the assembly would occur. And so we saw all of these children with the preschoolers on the far left, and then the grades going from first grade all the way to 8th grade in rows, just like it was when I was a kid, when we had to stand in assembly, put your hands out so that you can get the spacing. And we observed them being led in their morning ritual of saying a prayer, the Lord's Prayer, saying their Pledge of Allegiance to Ghana, singing the Ghana song, and then singing their school song. And so I was very impressed, but what really touched me was when I heard the school song, because the name is now the Maudi Cosby Christian Academy. And when they were singing their school song, they were talking about how they would do their best for the school and to be worthy of the school, Maudi Cosby Christian Academy, or Maudi Cosby Academy. And the lines that just touched my heart and brought tears to my eyes when they said, Maudi Cosby, bright like a star, shine evermore, oh Maudi Cosby. And that was repeated. Maudi Cosby, bright like a star, shine evermore, oh Maudi Cosby. And they're talking about their school, but I felt they were talking about my mother. And I could almost see her looking down on this and feeling pride in having a school named after her. And of course, I felt pride in supporting it. And it was just a wonderful trip, wonderful journey. We then, observed the children in their classrooms with their teacher, heard about what the school needs, what the resources, where the resources were going. We also walked to the site where the new school is being built. The land was donated by the minister's father, who owned a considerable amount of land. The foundation, it was a huge foundation with the blocks already being set and the wires coming out of the ends. So it needed to be poured, and then we saw the plans for the school, which was a 3-story building. For the most part, I think the school had the children so disciplined that they didn't want them to sort of like flock around us, which they tended to do. And Cynthia got some beautiful photographs of the children who just seemed to be angelic and just wonderful. So yeah, I didn't get to speak individually to them, but also they speak English and they speak a native language that they probably speak more commonly than English. And so I still have some trouble with the accent a little bit because it's not American English, it's British English. I was just so touched by how honored they were to have me in their presence and how honored I felt to be there. So that was very touching to me. And also just every time we went to a classroom, you could tell that they were looking up with admiration that this guy had come from America and, with interest in the school. And the headmaster was extremely proud that I was there. And I think they actually were very proud of Cynthia too, because they could see that she was a very wise, intelligent, well-educated woman. And, Ghana, unlike some of other African nations, have coeducational, equality with both male and female students. And to see those children's faces and to hear them sing the song. And to also see the presentation, I presented them with a picture of my mom. It was very touching. In fact, one of my brothers, who doesn't get moved very easily, called it moving. And my youngest brother came to visit me this weekend here, and I showed it to him because he didn't get to view it. And his wife cried almost through the whole thing because she was very close to my mother, and he was also moved and touched by it. So at least I'd like to have an opportunity for my family to be able to give and participate. We're now setting up Maudi Cosby Charity Fund as a nonprofit so that I can build a website and have folks who want to contribute to the school be able to do so. It gives me a source of pride to know that we can still be a part of a universal, positive thing, a positive, creative force in the world to make it better for the children that we leave behind. And for me personally, to know that my family has this part of our family now connected to Ghana or the west coast of Africa is just a wonderful opportunity.
We shall work with heart and mind, we shall be among the best. All should do all that they can for Maudi Cosby Academy. Maudi Cosby